Hello, I'm live and I am ready to talk you through 6 steps that I have thought about to give yourself the best shot at love. I put a vote on my Instagram story and this one was a hit. Giving yourself the best shot at love. There's a few things I do want to mention here that I think is really key because the people who tend to find themselves attracted to and benefiting from the work that I do, whether that is through my Instagram, my podcast, my coaching, it does tend to be people who can struggle with dating, relationships, love, that can find it really, really tough. And so I just want to make it really clear from the start that when I'm talking about the best shot at love, I'm talking about a healthy, meaningful, fulfilling relationship. Okay, so I'm being really clear that I don't just mean getting into a relationship. Okay, the reason I want to make that clear and talk about that is because, like I say, the people that are attracted to the work that I do, but also because there is a level where people will rather be in a relationship, any relationship, than be in a healthy, happy relationship, than be single. Okay, so not that you would rather it than a healthy one, but you would rather it than being single. So I'd rather be in any relationship, even if it means that I get treated poorly, they're not available for me, my needs are going unmet. I'd rather stay here than be single. So that's what we see a lot of the time. So unfortunately, there is a lot of information that I am unable to give you. I cannot tell you how and when. I can't tell you how and when you are going to meet someone. And quite often that's actually the part people are holding on to. How long? When? And sometimes that's why you'll stay committed to unhelpful patterns, to people who don't actually see you, to people who hurt you, to people who can create that insecurity and anxiety or trigger it anyway. And so there is this element of needing to know when it's going to happen, to have that certainty, but I can't give you that. You know that anyway. However, there is a lot that I can offer. I can speak to you and help you, and I help people with this through my courses, my membership, through coaching, to give yourself the best shot at love. Now, obviously, that includes loving yourself and a relationship with yourself, but actually, I'm talking to those of you here who really find yourself longing for a relationship, who are out there dating and want it to be a different experience. So there is a big conflict quite often with the people that I work with, or with the people who come across my page and my work, and that is that they really want a relationship. They really want to meet someone, to be loved, to give love, and they long for it. This isn't just something that they want a bit. This is like a longing. But there's this conflict because you know that you want this. You want it to the point quite often of like a deep sadness, a deep feeling of like missing out and lack. And what ends up happening from that is you don't give yourself the best shot, because quite often from that place you engage in behaviors, patterns that don't give yourself that best shot at love. If anything, they pull you away from it. I know it's not nice to hear, but I can't sugarcoat it. It's the truth. So there's this conflict of really wanting it, but your behaviors, your actions, your patterns, they're not aligned with that desire. For example, you say that you really want a serious relationship and you want to experience respect and joy and happiness and a sense of peace, yet you are chasing someone who is hot and cold, where you don't know where you stand, you're in limbo, it's very inconsistent. Or perhaps you're not even out there dating because you're looking at your ex thinking that is the person for me and no one compares to that. So there's certain patterns, whether it's cognitive patterns or things that you're, doing behaviorally, that will be quite often conflicting what you say you want. So I'm here to say, let's be aware of the conflict. Let's think of these sort of, like I say, these kind of 6 steps, if you like, that you can start to, I don't want to say work through, because this is your life and these are things that you can just kind of bring into your dating and your relationship world. Okay, I'm mindful of saying it's doing the work when you're giving this is about you giving love like your best shot, because the clock is ticking, life is short, we don't know how long we have, and we can feel like we've got forever, which is why we focus on people who treat you like crap, that quite literally do not deserve you. I'm not saying ever, I don't know what their potential is, but right in this moment, they're not able to offer you what you're ready for and what you need. And I don't know if they'll ever be able to. Okay, so for you to give yourself the best shot, because that's all you can do. Let's just be really clear on that. People go a lifetime repeating the same patterns over and over. They don't get help. They don't heal these old painful wounds that keep you in these patterns, that keep you avoiding love, that keep you here where you are. So people not only will go a lifetime never addressing it and wonder, why is it that I keep only getting to date 3? Why does everyone leave after 3 months? Why have I never, been able to be that intimate with someone to the point where I have felt so connected? Whatever the pattern is for you, I don't know what your pattern is specifically. So that there usually is one, whether it's the type of person you're attracting, how it is that you're dating, how long it is that you're dating, the relationships, what it is that ends them, that kind of thing. We tend to see that there's a very, very similar pattern. Okay, everything that I'm about to say, when I'm going to go through these 6 ideas that is going to help you to simply relax into life and giving it your best shot because it's something that you want. I'm not saying it's easy. They're quite simple steps, but I'm not saying they're easy, especially if you don't take the time, the effort and the strength to make them your priority, really. So what you'll notice about all of them, I'm going to say it matter of fact because I'm not your coach, so I can't go into it individually. I can only generalize. So not all of it is going to apply to you, and some of it you are going to need to go deeper. How you do that is up to you, whether you get the books, get a coach, learn more, whatever it is you need to do. Becoming Irreplaceable, my 8-week program, starts on Monday. That absolutely gives you the best shot at love when you know that you're irreplaceable, because this is who I help, right? People who feel that they are replaceable, people who go into relationships feeling that they are not good enough. This is the pattern that I see, but I will tell you about that. So overall, I will definitely save it for later, no worries. And as I'm talking, those of you that are here live, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. In fact, even if you're watching on replay, please feel free to comment, ask any questions, because I will definitely answer them. And if you're watching on replay, leave a comment, an emoji, like it, so that I know that you're here. That's always really nice. Thank you for that reminder. Everything I'm going to mention, there's a common theme, okay? And like I say, I'm just saying it matter of fact because I don't know you individually. It's wholeness. And I say it simply because I believe that if there was a manual for how you do relationships, to be in a relationship, of how we have healthy, meaningful, respectful relationships. Don't know how, don't know when, remember? Okay? But to give yourself the best shot. is wholeness. You have to, before anything else, find a sense of wholeness within yourself. It doesn't take a genius to work that out. It doesn't take a genius to know that people who are happy, and I don't mean happy in that way that we are conditioned to believe if they've got, I don't know what, loads of money and they own loads of things and they're in a relationship. I mean the people that are happy, genuinely content. If we look at those people, what do they have in common? Because we're lucky, people are out there, they are doing this research. Well, they have in common a sense of wholeness and worth on themselves first. They depend on themselves in that sense of knowing that they've got their own back. So these 6 ideas that I'm going to go through, at the core of them is a sense of wholeness, a sense of you knowing I am irreplaceable. Whatever is happening around me, I remain worthy, irreplaceable, and whole. That's the number one. Well, it's not the number one. That's the overall foundations, okay? Now I want to give you these 6 steps, ideas, stages, whatever we want to call them, that I really believe, and I'm sure that these will change over time because things are always adapting. I'm always growing. Things are always shifting for me. But right now, for me, because you guys know, right, for my experience, which is a very happily single woman, dating isn't easy. Someone with it at the core an insecure attachment style, it's not like this stuff just goes away. So how have I got it from being someone who really loses myself in love, completely lowered my boundaries and my standards to the point where sometimes I had no dignity left. If it's something that you can lose, I lost it. It was gone. Okay, luckily I think you can regain your dignity. So that's all good. So how did I get there? Okay, firstly, you have to meet yourself where you are. So number 1, meet yourself where you are. You can't change the past. I can't change those times that my dignity was on the floor because I was so insecure and I was acting out and I was clinging on and the neediness was taking over. So firstly, meet yourself where you are with understanding, with love, with compassion. You can't change the past, but you can meet yourself where you are now. Things become a mistake when you're repeating them over and over again and you know now what you're doing. You've been here so many times before. It's not happening automatically anymore. It's not just this, you're not unaware of it. You know, there used to be this time where the anxiety would take over and I would feel crazy in love and lose myself and chase these unavailable people and push the good people away. Not the good, that's unfair because they're good people, but the secure people away, push them away. It was automatic. I wasn't questioning it. There was no awareness. Now there is. So now when it happens, it's a bit of a different story. I've got to meet myself with that kind of self-love where it's like, hey, enough's enough. But I'll talk to you that as we go along. So number 1, meet yourself where you are. Kindness, compassion, understanding. This is what you've been through. This is your story so far. You cannot change it, but you can have an element of control over your future and giving yourself the best shot at what you do moving forward. You can just use all of that stuff to drive you to learn, to laugh at, you know. Number 2 is to focus on wholeness, happiness in your life, first and foremost. What makes you happy? The way to give yourself the best shot at love is to figure out who you are as a person in the sense of what makes you feel good. The ripple effect of that is that when people are happy and they feel good, that's attractive, that's contagious. We want to be around that. The only time we don't want to be around that is when we're nowhere near matching that. Is when that just makes us think of what we don't have and how far away we are from that. And that's why you attract someone at that level, right? So remember what I'm talking about. I'm talking about meaningful, healthy, happy relationships where you laugh, where you feel joy, where you feel loved and wanted and needed and vice versa. So being happy is key, because that's what you attract in. It's true. So the other thing is that means, what do you feel? What makes you feel good? To do more of that. And you might need to experiment and figure that out. And we're doing this on Becoming Irreplaceable, my 8-week program. You know, you can come along and spend, it's actually up to 11 weeks with us, where together you explore, who are you? How do you feel? What makes you feel good? That's how you give yourself the best shot at love. Like I said, that manual, you know, it would say, do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you feel whole. If you don't know what that feels like, it's because you've not learned it yet. So start experimenting. What makes you feel alive? What feeds your soul? That's where I started. I started with the happiness strategies, the gratitude, the looking for the positives, looking at my strengths, exercise, the basic things that can make us feel a little bit better. Number 3 is exploring your dating patterns. This is one of the biggest ways that you can give yourself the best shot. Look at your patterns. If the only thing that you're changing is the person, okay, right, that person is over, let me go on another date until I can find someone else. If you have only made yourself a promise, right, not doing that again, not going to go for anyone unavailable again, next time I'm going to be open, next time I'm going to be this. If you've only made like this cognitive promise, it's probably not going to be enough. If there is a sense of insecurity and deeper wounds and patterns of this, one promise to yourself isn't going to be enough. How many times have we promised ourselves things and then we break it? There's a reason for that. It's got to go deeper. So you need to look at the patterns and then look at what influences those patterns. This is the deeper work, okay? The abandonment wounds, the attachment styles. And then you've got to go in and understand that and love yourself through that and rewire that and reparent yourself and teach yourself a new way of dating, love, relationships, one that can still light you up. But ultimately, if you keep repeating the same pattern, but you've made one quick cognitive promise to yourself, it's probably not going to be enough. So to give yourself the best shot at love, go deeper on the patterns. That's the past stuff. That's what a lot of people fear. That's what a lot of people avoid. And people will go a lifetime not doing that work, just repeating the same patterns, wondering why love and dating and relationships is so hard and so painful. The next one, you have to remember that feeling replaceable, loneliness, and an inferiority complex, so feeling like you are not as good as other people, and especially loneliness, okay, they don't go away through dating in a relationship. If they do, they temporarily go away with a plaster. They will still come out sideways. You will need to control the person so that you always feel enough, that I must feel enough when they're doing X, or I can only feel enough when I'm in a relationship. So you are going to become dependent on this for your happiness, for your feelings of wholeness, so that you don't feel lonely. So you're always going to need this thing. The cycle continues, and it's usually not a nice experience for the other person either. To probably an element of having to be controlled, you know, in order to keep your anxiety down, to keep you feeling whole and worthy. So remember that depending on someone is not going to give you the best shot at real, healthy, happy, meaningful love. So that's the self-worth work, right? That's the knowing that you are okay without a relationship. And a great thing to do is to focus on the connections that you already have, the relationships that already are around you, the people that are around you. Focus on that. Get to know them on a deeper level. Know that you don't need a relationship to be happy and to be whole. Number 5 is to surrender. To surrender the picture. To surrender the thing that keeps you stuck, repeating these same patterns. Quite often there is a picture of a certain dynamic that you see, a certain date, a certain type of person, a certain characteristic, and that is what can keep you from really experiencing something real. That's what can keep you in lack. That's what can keep you feeling sad and frustrated that you don't have the thing that you want. I'm not saying you have to let go of your dream. Now, many of you will know who have worked with me or do work with me, or if you're in the membership, and those of you that are joining Becoming Irreplaceable, drop that in there again. You will know that one of the elements that I adore, it's one of my favorite parts about working with people, is through the world of possibility. That is hope, trust, excitement. I do that through visualizing, do that through meditation, through movement, so many different ways, through shifting your emotion. To go to that world of possibility is so great for surrendering. Like, you have to be able to surrender when things don't go the way that you want it to. Like I said, I don't know when, I don't know how. So you've got to surrender to that. We don't know how much time we have. We don't know what is laid out in front of you. So there has to be that element of surrender and surrendering that picture. It's almost like it's contradictory, but how can I then have that world of possibility? That world of possibility comes from a whole different feeling. It comes from a high vibe, a high frequency. It comes from a deep sense of trust that you can only have through practice, through loving yourself, meeting yourself where you are, happiness, all of those other things that I've mentioned. The final, I'm sure there's many, many more, and they'll all come to me afterwards, but for keeping this at this length and not keeping you here all day and night, the 6th element, really need to find a word for that, don't I, is to connect to, honestly, let me really get this across. You have a strength in you that you do not know exists until you have to use it, until you practice it. When you start to use this strength, it's hard. You will want to go back to your old patterns. You will want to reach out to that person. You'll want to, it's like that. It's that inner strength. If you've ever been taken over by an anxious attachment, for example, in fact, maybe you don't, it doesn't even have to be that. When you have wanted to do the no contact rule, okay, but you get taken over in that moment to reach out to this person, and it takes over your whole mind, body and soul. When you're dating someone and you notice that they start to pull back, you see a shift, you see a change, and the emotion takes over your mind, body and soul, and you start to act out of character in a way where you don't even know yourself. In those moments, there is a strength that you have. You just may not have connected with it yet, or you probably have, but sometimes you need to become best friends with that inner strength. To give yourself the best shot at love, you need to connect with a strength and emotional power. And emotional power is to be able to stand in your emotional power when you feel all the feelings, but still stay aligned with your bigger picture, with your values, with who you are, and with that wholeness. Okay, so yes, everything inside of you might be telling you that this person is the one for you, even though they are treating you like crap. You have to be able to stand in your emotional power and know that this is for the best. If you want to give yourself the best shot at love, you have to be able to get back up when you experience rejection. You have to be able to understand that in the dating world, there is ghosting. You have to be able to understand that you are irreplaceable, even if the person you desire has just moved on in a space of a week. You have to be able to find that inner strength and emotional power that makes you unique, makes you you. And that is how you are going to give yourself the best shot at love. You can feel. You can go through when the wounds are triggered. but we must get up and we must go again. And that is going to give you your best shot at love. If you do want to go through this more, get in touch. This is the work that I do with people. If there is an element of this where you're like, I need this mindset, this power, like emotional power to be able to manage myself in that way. I did not used to think like this. My clients will start with me, you know, in terms of feeling emotionally powerless, out of control, their anxiety taking over. And by the end, recognizing when they're triggered, how they're triggered, what the best thing is for them to do. And most importantly, to be able to get through that without the losing the dignity, the acting out and all of those things that you don't want to be doing. You've got to give yourself the best shot at love. It's not easy, especially when there is pain behind it and you have been hurt. But what else do you do? You know? I actually had, let's see if I can find it. Yes. I don't know if you guys know this book, The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. The work that I do with people is about self-connection. I believe that coming back to your true self, that sense of self-worth, that inner child that needs love and patience and reparenting, I believe that that is the basis and the foundations of you giving yourself the best shot at love. And all of these things allow for that. This book. Anyway, I'm going to read you a little section. And this is what I was talking about in terms of the strength as well. The key is to learn to keep your mind disciplined enough so that it doesn't trick you into thinking that this time it's worth closing. If you slip, get back up. The minute you slip, the minute you open your mouth, the minute you start to close and defend yourself, get back up. Just pick yourself up and affirm inwardly that you don't want to close no matter what happens. Affirm that all you want is to be at peace and to appreciate life. You don't want your happiness to be conditional upon the behaviour of other people. It's bad enough that your happiness is conditional upon your own behaviour. When you start making it conditional upon other people's behaviour, you're in serious trouble. This is one of my favourite bits. Things are going to happen to you and you're going to feel the tendency to close, but you have the choice to either go with it or let it go. Your mind will tell you that it's not reasonable to stay open when these things happen, but you have limited time left in your life, and what's really not reasonable is to not enjoy your life. Trust me, guys, nothing makes me different. I don't have some kind of mindset superpower that you don't have. I choose to trust. I choose in my happiness. Like, I choose my happiness first. I choose wholeness. I choose to explore what makes us happy and have healthy, happier relationships. I have studied. I have learned so much education, like had so much education around what it takes to heal abandonment wounds, attachment wounds. And this information is out there. You can heal the past pains, you can get to know the conflicts, but you have to be willing to take the responsibility. Those of you that have watched this, there's an element, a huge element in fact, where you are ready to really give this your best shot at love. So notice just one tiny shift that you can make today. Where can you say hell yes to yourself, that you can make a shift in your day that's going to help you to give love your best shot? Because that's all that you can ask yourself. The only thing you can ask for yourself is, am I giving this my best shot? And if the answer is yes, and obviously there's going to be some days where maybe not, but for the most part, like, applaud yourself. Applaud yourself. So I hope that you found that useful. You know, I hope that you can take some of the pressure off of yourself, that you can live less from a place of lack and not feeling good enough, and putting your happiness and worth into the hands of a relationship, which is just part of your life. It's part of it. I know it's an important part, but this is where you're at. So meet yourself where you are. Becoming Irreplaceable starts on Monday, this coming Monday, the 6th. you're very, very welcome. The link is in my bio, or you can send me a direct message. If you want to feel irreplaceable, if you want to let go of your ex, stop chasing unavailable relationships and break painful patterns in dating and relationship, and create I'm going for extraordinary. If you want to, calibrate to that, then come and join us on Monday. Otherwise, you are enough, you are lovable, you are so, so worthy, and you are irreplaceable.